Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Coaching from the Couch. This is your weekly DMV Sports Update, and I am your host, Wall, joined here by my Bowie TV colleague, Darrell Owens. And whenever you see both of us, it's because there's something of great importance that needs to be discussed. Because I believe, Darrell, you correct me if I'm mistaken. The last time we did this was when Montez Sweat and Chase Young were traded.
I believe so. I think that was the last time that we had a chance to jump on together. It was a lot to kind of. It's right before we went to New England. I know that much. So it was right before we went to New England. We definitely did have that conversation. So who knows? 2 months later, almost, and we haven't won since. Oh man, it's rough. It's rough.
Listen, it's rough. Listen, a few housekeeping items, you all. This is a live Bowie television recording. Everything we say and do here will more than likely end up on your television screens each and every single day. Well, Monday through Friday from 1:30 to 2:30, and on the weekend during the noon hour, Verizon Channel 11 and Comcast Xfinity Channel 77. You can catch it every single day. And then our YouTube channel. Make sure you are locked in on Bowie TV at BCMC TV Maryland. Make sure you are locked in. We have Commanders content. We have Ravens content. We have all types of TV shows, information. You want to make sure you are locked in on Bowie TV. We have it all the time, every single day. So if you are joining us from the Facebook stream, make sure you hit the love button and share this show with your DMV sports loving family and friends. Got to be honest, it's going to be heavy on the Commanders. Only Commanders, just truth be told. And if you are joining from YouTube, make sure you hit that thumbs up, hit the bell, make sure you subscribe so that you are already locked in. Everyone say hello to Mama Waller. Say hello to Pops Waller. We see DJ is already in the building. DJ. He said it's about to go down. Listen, I don't know what's happening anymore. We just here so we don't get fined.
That's where we at right now. I mean, let's be honest. We just try not to get fined and trying to make it through another great sports week. That's it.
Mm-hmm. And so, listen, to start us off, you all know I like to, we it's Christmas. So we hope everyone's holiday season is going well.
Most definitely.
Everybody is enjoying their holiday season, staying safe, staying healthy. You all keep your Lysol, keep your Clorox 4-in-1, your hand sanitizer, because there's a lot going on outside for sure.
Yeah.
So please be healthy. And so I see Ray Rogers has jumped in as well, said happy holidays to us. You all, Ray. I think it was, when was this? Was it last week? I started this right here. Use your clues. Use your clues. And you might be saying, well, what is she talking about with use your clues? Use your clues means if you're paying attention, you'll get the answer to a question before it's even asked. Use your clues. So in this week's episode of a segment of Use Your Clues, we're going to share a bit of Ron Rivera's press conference after the Jets game. And maybe we need to back up because we're going to play Use Your Clues, but I guess to be fair, I got to play my tried and true game. But I want you all to brace yourself for Use Your Clues because this is going to be a good one. Because you really got to think hard on using your clues in terms of the press conference. At what point did you know Jacoby Brissett is going to start for the rest of the season?
Are you doing Ron Rivera right now?
At what point? Okay. We're going to do that in a minute.
Okay.
Before we're going to do that, we got to go to his press conference, though.
Right.
It's really good. But before that, let's play the tried and true. What's your one word? And that is, what's your one word to describe how you felt after the Commanders lost to the Jets? on Christmas Eve. What's your one word? Drop your one words in the chat. Darrell, share your one word. What's your one word?
There's so many to choose from. I think I'm gonna say disappointment, and maybe I shouldn't be disappointed because we've been watching this for weeks. But I think it was more disappointment because we saw them make a nice comeback, and we saw Jacoby Brissett come in, and they were just clicking right off the bat, and the way they came back in that third quarter, leading up until the very end. I think that's where my disappointment kind of lies. But it's not the comeback that's disappointing. It's the last possession that bothered me the most. And we talked about this when we were riding back up the road. What bothered me the most was I felt like they didn't play to win the game. I think they played it way too conservatively, and they tried to we're going to hold off a little bit. Let's run the ball. No. You got to get one attempt. I mean, Jacoby was cooking. And my heart of hearts, I feel like he could have hit Logan, AG, somebody across the middle for that first down. And just somebody, that because he was cooking. But they decided to run the ball 3 times, and then they gave the Jets the ball back with a minute and some change left. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, this is the wrong thing. The crowd's on their side. The momentum would have, even though the Commanders were cooking, I felt like it's just not the move. And unfortunately, I was right. And a 54-yard field goal by Greg the Leg, and the rest is history. Mm-hmm. Disappointment.
Now, Ray said he was unmoved.
Poor Ray.
Ray said he was unmoved. Now, Mama Waller, I walked back in the house, and she was like, I was ecstatic because they came back strong. Like, she was just excited because they, and I was just walking in the house like, okay, Mom. But that's good. That's nice. That was nice that they came back strong. I think my one word is late. Because the decision to make the change at quarterback, it just happens. It has happened too late.
Yeah.
Right? We saw this the week prior. It was too late. And I think I received a question last week. It was like, do you think we could have won more games? And I'm like, hey, I can't, I don't want to go back and hypothetically speak about all of the other games. But I think it's safe to say, had Jacoby Brissett come in earlier versus the Rams, then potentially, yes, they could have won that game. I think it's safe to say, yes, they could have won the Jets game. But I can only base that off of what we saw in those games and what ended up happening. You never know. The other team game plans differently. Things happen, but all things considered, had, say, with the Rams game, Jacoby come in at the top of the 4th, had against the Jets,
halftime.
Coach made the decision at halftime. Now, I was toying around with the idea of, if you want us to believe you that you were trying to protect Sam because of the situation, because of the changes at an offensive line and the change at center, right? And Sam holds the ball a little too long, kind of, trying to force things to happen. You need more of that veteran experience when your starters have gone out to kind of work through that situation. I was like, hey, start Jacoby against the Jets then, since we knew that Nick Gates was going to start that game. That's what I was looking for. Okay, Ron, if you want me to believe you, that it's more so about keeping Sam's and just doing what's best for the situation, and it's not about you wanting to be right about Sam, then he could have started Jacoby. And I wouldn't have taken it any. I know I would not have taken it any differently had he done that, because I would have been like, hey, I think the hard truth is, with Nick Gates, with the changes in the offensive line, Jacoby is your better option at this time. I really wouldn't have taken it any other way. I'd have been like, okay, well, all right, okay, but that's not what happened. And kudos to Jacoby. He made some heroic efforts He really, really
He
did.
did. I mean, look, it was a great like that. I remember just being on the field. The energy from the fans completely changed. Like you could see the air slowly being sucked out of the stadium. And there wasn't a ton of people there. Let's be honest with you. It was Christmas Eve. We got two teams that are not, whatever. But the fans that were there, the energy was riding high heading into halftime. And once Jacoby came in and that first drive, they went cooking. I'm like, hey, from that point on, that air got sucked in. The energy didn't come back in there until the Commanders punted the ball on that last drive, and then the last drive went, and the things happened the way they did. So, yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it. Maybe in the second quarter they could have brought him in, and it
Yep.
may have changed some things.
Yep. Definitely. Definitely. If you all are just tuning in, you are watching from Bowie Television, coaching from the couch. This is your weekly DMV Sports Update. I'm your host, C. Wall. I'm joined here with my colleague, Darrell Owens, also on Bowie Television, also taking all the bomb pictures
I do the best I can.
from the games as well. You all can find this show. Make sure you're subscribed everywhere. Bowie TV at BCMC TV Maryland. Hit the love button if you're watching from Facebook and share this show with your DMV sports loving family and friends. The thumbs up and the bell if you are watching from YouTube. Share the page with everybody you know. We're covering the Commanders. We're covering the Baltimore Ravens. All of those things tonight. We're very super duper heavy on the Commanders and the news that there's going to be a quarterback switch, or there is a quarterback switch. Now we're going to go back to my other game. Use your clues, because I still want us to use our clues from Ron Rivera's press conference. I'm going to share a snippet of that, share a few minutes of it, just a top of it, not the whole thing, but sharing a few of the just some of the things that he said in the beginning, because I want you all to drop in the chat. What did you, just your overall thoughts? Too little, too late on the change. And we're going to get into this in a minute. How ironic that this is happening the week that Chase Young comes back to FedEx Field.
And I mean, look, it's crazy. Look, now when y'all listen to Ron Rivera, just a quick disclaimer. We had a little bit of audio issues initially. So don't be afraid. And you hear, oh, what's that noise? It's just for a couple seconds. It was at the very beginning, but we had a lot of madness going on in that press or in that conference room at the time. So do apologize. That's on me. So just don't run away. Don't run away.
Yeah, don't run away. That's why I said we're gonna listen to this. It's still excellent content.
You can still hear him. I promise.
Absolutely. All right. Yes. Okay. Let's check it out for a few minutes here.
Ron, what second straight week Jacoby's come in and made those kind of plays. What's the difference with him coming in the game as opposed to what Sam was showing?
I would say a little bit more about veteran experience. I would say a little bit more of the fact that, he's been through these types of things, and Sam's still learning and growing. And it was, again, it was my decision. I talked to let EB know, and he was fine, and we just went ahead and did it.
Would you start Jacoby next week?
Well, we're going to put everything in and evaluate everything. We'll come into the conclusion very early in the week.
Did you have any conversation with Sam after he came out or after the game at all?
I just chit-chatted with him just a little bit just now, and had an opportunity to talk to him quickly.
And Davida and Bienemy both kind of indicated last week that they felt like he was pressing a bit. Did you sense that again today?
I did, and it was tough. We didn't help him early. We dropped a couple balls that we probably should have caught, and and then that's tough. Your confidence sometimes can get shaken, and that's what I started to feel in the second half, and I was really concerned, and that's why I made the decision I did.
Early in the game, did you see moments where you felt Sam was growing and developing, and if so, where?
I saw moments I thought he was doing pretty good, and like I said, we all got to make plays, and when we get those opportunities, we got to do those things.
This is a kind of an awkward question, but some fans were rooting against you guys today for draft position. Do you notice that, or what do you make of that?
I don't make of that. I really don't. I'm going to show up, and we're going to work, and we're going to play to win. Everything we do is about winning. It got nothing to do with about losing, okay? If that's what they're thinking, then that's unfortunate.
Ron, with Jacoby, is it just a matter of him being decisive and just going where?
Yes, and that's one of the things that you don't want Sam to overthink. I mean, he's got a lot of pressure. He's been trying to do a lot of things to make things happen, and you can't fault him for that.
Young quarterbacks can go in a million different directions. When a guy gets benched twice, I mean, he's going to obviously start thinking about things. What do you do to kind of talk to him about
We
that?
most certainly will talk about those things. We'll talk about just the opportunities he's had and how much he's learned, how much he's grown. He's got to look at this as this is just part of the things, the process to go through it.
So we already look 2 minutes in, and I don't know if anyone else has dropped in the chat with using their clues on when they knew. I mean, I think I saw DJ say when Howell was benched, he already knew it was Jacoby for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But Coach Rivera's responses to ESPN's John Keim within the first 30 seconds let me know it's going to have to be Jacoby the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And let me be clear, because I see this comment come through that I want to acknowledge. This is they're definitely not going to win the last 2 games. I don't think it is about necessarily winning per se. I mean,
Which is a hard thing to say.
They are whoever gives you the best opportunity to win, given the circumstances. I mean, let's be for real. And this is not to harp on offensive line or specifically Nick Gates, but there was a change. There is a difference. And when you are talking about a difference of a play between a Tyler Larsen and a Nick Gates, there is a difference. And you need the person whoever's the best available for the situation. Right. And gives you the best opportunity to be successful. And the reality is, when using your clues, when Coach Rivera, this, Darrell, you've been in all these press conferences just like I have. When Coach Rivera says he's our starter, I don't want to talk about it anymore. He's going to say that.
Yeah.
And when he didn't say that, I said, okay, number one. And then when he said, oh, and we got to evaluate, we'll make a decision early in the week, I said, right. And there it is.
And then you knew right then and there.
Jacoby's going to be the starter.
Now, I will say this. I don't know how long Larsen is supposed to be out, or if he's coming back this week or not. If he's still out, I think that may also play into the decision. I'm gonna kind of give you the Nick Gates Larsen situation, and I'm gonna use a baseball reference. When in baseball, you'll see when knuckleball pitchers come in, majority of the time, they don't use the same catcher. They use a different catcher because that catcher has a better feeling with the knuckleball. They can handle the knuckleball a little bit better than maybe, their normal catcher who can handle pretty much everything else. So there are a lot of baseball situations where you see that. The Boston Red Sox did that for years with Tim Wakefield. They would have a different catcher in certain areas when that time came. So I see that the same way, where it's like, hey, look, Larsen is better for Howell. Gates, you can bring Gates in and use him for Jacoby. Why? Because Jacoby does a really good job of, reading the defense a little bit quicker, getting the ball out a little bit faster. And this is not a knock on Sam. It's more of a, hey, this guy's a veteran, this guy's a rookie. Sam's still learning the game. And I think the one thing I see across every Commander's Facebook page or post or whatever is Sam this, Sam that. Look, I have nothing against Sam Howell. I think Sam Howell could still be a really good quarterback in this league. It's all about what's going to be, the best move for him. Do you go after a better line? If you decide to go quarterback, then we know that the Sam Howell era is pretty much over before it really began. So offseason is going to tell a lot of that story. But for me, I just think it's you look at it, if Larson's going to be out longer, you got Nick Gates in there, give somebody who's going to give, the better chance. And let's be honest with you, that's going to be Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, I mean, it's just is what it is. And I want to go back to, we let the video play a little longer to even go through the question of, draft position, right? And here's something that I've been sharing with fans. I think it is very important to understand. If you are advocating for draft position in December, that's bad.
It is.
That is bad. In real life, the industry that Darrell and I are in, if that's an issue. Nobody cares about draft position. Nobody is talking about draft position. These organizations are frantic if they have been eliminated from the playoffs at this point in time in the season. I saw a stat and posted it on my Facebook page that 24 teams, 24, right, are either you've made the playoffs or you're still in the
mix
and made it. 24.
Yep.
So if you are in that means over 50%, right? So that means your organization has underperformed drastically compared to your peers across the league. Draft position conversation is not, in real life, it is not a sign of success. It is not a sign of something to be happy about. It is actually a defense mechanism to try to help people feel better about losing.
That's a good one.
It is. It's a defense mechanism to make you feel better about losing. And here's the reality. Here's what I would like to encourage Washington fans specifically on this topic. You have gone through 30 plus years of losing. Hold this ownership group's feet to the fire. Okay? Draft position is unacceptable to winning organizations. Darrell, I asked you a question because you grew up a Packers fan, right?
Yes.
I said, is that something that y'all even talk about?
Nah.
Is it even a conversation?
Nah.
Is it even something that you no. And while people may say, okay, over the years, yeah, but some of those teams who over the years were excited about draft position, guess what? Those teams have made good do with their draft picks.
That's the one. That's the one right there.
They made good do. They made good do. Let's use the Bengals. Somebody, if he's watching, Eugene White mentioned the Bengals, he mentioned the 49ers, he mentioned the Cowboys. All three of those teams have made good do with their high draft picks. Washington has not. So therefore, understood you made $6 billion. But this should not be a sign of your ownership tenure.
Yeah.
Okay? It should not be. It just should not be. Nor should they want it to be. Okay? And so I wanted to be very real. And I know Ray said, ouch, Candi. Yeah, it is. Hey, truth hurts. But I want people, because see, it's hard to be in this industry and not want to be better. 24 teams.
Yeah.
Between being in or in the hunt.
Yep.
Okay? The Commanders were eliminated with 3 games left to play.
And they still, within these last 2 weeks, if let's say they won these last 2 games, they're in the mix. They're in the mix. Because the Bears, all them.
You didn't know? Well, right, because they got eliminated the Rams game, right?
Yeah, they got eliminated in the Rams
game.
So
they won that game, right? You still in the mix.
You're still in the mix.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So it's like, what talk about something that's happening in April? In December? But we're sharing this information, and I want it to be known because that's what it is in real life. Okay, people are they haven't and then not only that, it's like, what has draft position? What has that done?
It hasn't helped. Look,
it hasn't helped.
Here's the thing. You brought up, look, as a Packers fan, yes, I'm a Packers fan that covers the Commanders. For those of you don't tell all the green in the back. But here's the thing, though. Looking at this team, years have went by. And I think, John Thomas said, how many draft picks have they still on the roster in the last 5 years? Here's the thing, man. It's you don't have a lot of them. God rest Dwayne Haskins. So he was only here for a year and a half, and he was out of town. And a lot of the top draft picks they had haven't worked out. Terry was a 3rd round pick. AG was a 3rd round pick. He's had some, solid production here and there. Jahan this year has not been his best year. Last year was a solid year. So it's like they haven't hit on any of these picks. As a Packers fan, we're used to picking at the back or, latter half in the draft. So it's for us, it's not something that I'm like, oh man, clamoring to get that top pick. If we were now maybe 1 or 2 years, maybe, because it's like, okay, we're nowhere a pick away from winning. That's different. In this case, you're not a pick away from winning. I hear people screaming, let's go get May, let's go get Caleb Williams and all that stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if quarterback is true. It's a problem. But like I said, there's so much more than that. That offensive line, there's so many pieces that have to be done. Chase Young, there's a good one, Ray. Chase Young is not there anymore. He's the number 2 pick. Number 2 picks have worked out terrible for them. Him. Then you had RG3 with 2.5 years gone. Yeah. And it just hasn't worked. Mm-hmm. So it just hasn't worked. And
it hasn't worked. And what I've been sharing with people, listen, I'm not saying don't be excited, but what I am saying is start holding people accountable. One of the challenges with the previous ownership group was, okay, well, we didn't make the playoffs, but fans are happy with our draft position, so I don't have to do anything. That's the problem.
You can't have that.
That's an issue. That was one of the reasons why the previous ownership was like,
all right, cool.
My fans are happy because they like our draft position. Yep. That stuff will bite you in the butt. It's time to start holding them accountable. Hey, listen, hey, some days I be like, do they know what they bought for $6 million? Yep. Do they know what they bought? But here we are. But going back to then, it's a couple things we need to talk about. Chase Young come back. Yep. Chase Young is coming back.
He is.
And I have not won. I just didn't want to be bothered with this game. Like not. See, I just been like, Lord. I mean, Darrell, you let everybody know what we watched during training camp with Chase Young against this offensive line.
I mean, it was rough. That defensive line was beating up on that offensive line consistently. And I remember the one day of training camp, they were starting from like inside of the 20. And when I'm telling you, they were putting the heat on them, like chasing them, were just beating on them until EB yelled at the offensive line. Then they got a little bit of chip on their shoulder. But before he started yelling at them, it was a beatdown. That was just that one day. But for most days, that defensive line was giving that offensive line the business. So it was a little bit rough. And, there was some days that the offensive line fought back. Don't get me wrong. But there was a lot of it where that defensive line was holding. They were holding things down. They were doing their thing at that time frame. So, I'm a little bit worried because there's so much going into this game. You got to look at a 49ers team that's coming off of a very ugly loss against a team that we cover right on up the road, the Baltimore Ravens. Shout out to Karita Parks, all the wonderful work that she's been doing out there for Bowie Television.
Amen.
But they've got to go and face a team who's mad. You think Brock Purdy is going to throw 4 interceptions in this game against the worst defense in the NFL? And that's not me being nasty. That's statistics.
That's
okay. And so you're going to have to go into this week and try to figure out how to beat a mad football team with a Chase Young with a chip on his shoulder coming back into this game, with a Trent Williams coming into this game with a chip on his shoulder. Every time Trent Williams faces against the 49ers, it's going to be ugly because when he goes against the Commanders, that's going to be the mindset. Same thing with Chase from now on. When he goes against the Commanders, I think that's just going to be his mindset. That's what they got coming up this week. An angry football team that's coming off of a tough loss that don't want to lose the number 1 spot in the NFC. If they're going to win any of these 2 games, they better hope that the Dallas game is it. Because
a Kyle Shanahan who just is going to be mad forever.
Yep. That's what they're dealing with.
We gotta say what's up to our guy Caesar.
Caesar, what's up, brother?
Caesar.
Yes, sir. My guy Caesar, patrolling the sidelines there in DC.
Yes. Speaking of training camp, let me tell you all something. Everyone give a high five and a love button to Caesar. Caesar leads all of the training camp, all the everything at training camp. with the staff, and he's also, what is that, like section 138 over there in the
what's the
dream
happy
seat?
section? What do they call it?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, it's in the dream seats,
the
but like
dream
it's
seats. The
138,
dream
yeah,
seats.
he's in the one, yeah. And season 8 was so wonderful to us, so wonderful to us
Exactly.
every single day, and had the most best attitude, just great, super awesome fan, and also a super awesome fan who, no matter what, he's you know, I be being straight up and talking bad, but he's gonna always be positive.
Yeah, there you
You
go.
know,
There you go.
there you go. Section 38. Love you guys. Love you too, Caesar. Thank
Yes,
you so
sir.
much for tuning in. That's our guy right there, you all. Amazing person. Amazing. So, yes, to all of the above, Darrell. Lot of chips on the shoulder. A lot of chips on the shoulder.
A lot of chips on the shoulder.
An angry football team. The way they lost on Christmas night. To the Baltimore Ravens, we weren't mad about it because, like you said, all the great and wonderful
All the coverage.
Hey, listen, and I've been encouraging people. Hey, I'm not telling you to switch teams, but what I am saying is, just go and watch,
Right.
Because hint, if the Baltimore Ravens are an organization that Commanders' new ownership is looking to
Clues.
model.
Clues. Check your clues.
Use
your clues.
Use your clues.
Yes.
And so I see my cousin Bridget is here. I said, listen, go. Bowie TV has all the content. Make sure you're subscribed. Bowie TV at BCMC TV Maryland. We got the Beltway on lock. Definitely keep that, and I don't mind saying it. We got the Beltway on lock from the NFL perspective, NFC and AFC. That slipped out. I didn't mean to say it, but it's true. It's only bad if it isn't true. So listen, Sunday is going to bother me for a lot of different reasons. Because I see oftentimes fans talk bad about players once they're gone or once they're not here, but you have to understand the difference in organizations. And you have to understand the difference in leadership, which leads me to this question. And then we're going to close this out. You all, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And thank you to Darrell. I've been a little under the weather this week, or a lot of under the weather, and I'm trending upwards.
Had to check my girl out. I thought she was in trouble. I'm like, you all right over there? She's like, Darrell,
thought I was down.
My ribs hurt. Darrell, like, oh, I said, do you need me tonight? Because I feel like you're in trouble.
Do you need me tonight? I said, yes, I think so. It's getting a little dim over here. As the season is long, so y'all just keep drink your vitamin C and keep yourself doing well. There's a lot going on out here outside in the atmosphere. But I have to ask this question, and we're gonna keep this in the back of your minds, you all. But Ron Rivera wanted to change the culture. He was here to change the culture. And for a long time, I was an advocate. I said, well, he did that. They're nice. They're nice guys. Hey, every single guy in the locker room, great humans. Yep. Great humans. Right? Nice. So in that regard, but I've also shared, and we talked about this so many times, Darrell, okay, you got that right, but it didn't necessarily translate to winning.
Right.
Then this other thing was finding the organization, the quarterback.
And that's been the problem. It's so funny. Today on my Facebook post, I saw a post from 2019. I shared it today, where at this time 4 years ago, they were trying to decide who was going to be the new head coach. And it was down to Ron Rivera and Marvin Lewis. Said to myself, just intrigued, nothing against Ron. I just would wonder what if Marvin Lewis, how he would have been able to handle this situation throughout. And I think that Rivera, and people will knock him, for whatever, for the football purposes. But I think as a organization, for what he had to deal with, that's including going through cancer, that's including the death of his mother, and that's including, trying to navigate through a sale where every week he was getting asked questions about the new ownership, where, on the non-football side of things, I felt like he handled it as best as any person possibly could. And you can call me whatever for that, but when we're there every day. There's some people that are not there and don't get to see it. And we saw it. The man handled the best way he could at times. It's a lot of stress to have on you. And I think that he handled the best way he could. And I think he did make some things better.
Mhm.
But sometimes it's not the long-term answer. And it may be somebody else who carries on that torch, who takes the football part of it to the next level and takes the organizational part to the next level. And so I do want to give Ron Rivera his kudos for doing what he has done to get this organization to where they are on the organizational side. Obviously, we can't fight the football like the football we've seen. That's there. We can't. I can argue my case that he's a great guy, great coach, but we've seen what's on the field, and we can't do anything about that. That's on him. I think he would tell you the same thing if he told you in his face, like, that's on me. He's the head coach. He understands that. So, much love to Coach Rivera. I love the man that he is, and the hard work that he's put into the organization in the 4 years under. Oh, and let me not forget the name change too, because he has also had to deal with that. So it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, he wasn't necessarily, to be fair to your point, he wasn't necessarily dealt the best hand either.
No.
And that's where it goes to the clean slate means a lot of different things,
Right?
Including changing the culture, even from a fan base. I want to go back to, and DJ says this here, great core because they don't listen to the fan noise. Worrying about that organization. I would like to see the fan base want winning. Do not settle for good draft position.
Right.
Do not. Absolutely not. Don't do it. Don't do it.
From this point on, that's the mindset you got to have.
Yeah, right. You got to, because the organizational culture is everybody.
Right.
Including us. It's media. It's us too. Right. And it becomes okay, we can't always pick the drama stories. Let's pick the good stories. Let's try to find what you call me, Darrell? Positive spin Candi.
I mean, positive. If she said singing hymnals,
we try to put a positive spin on this. A positive thing to say.
Right.
In here, or something, those things. But it's going to be hard. But it's time. It's time. It is time, because it is possible somehow. And Darrell, I love everything you said about Coach Rivera, because those things are real. Coach Rivera has been very good to Bowie TV.
Yep.
Very, very good to us. And but there's nothing we can say about the product on the field.
I mean, we
have to be fair and objective in that regard as well, right?
We still got a job to do, and it's like I said, we have to see what we see. We're there every week. Our job is to tell you the story, and we're telling you the story behind the scenes part of the story.
Yeah.
You can see everything on TV yourself, but we're there, like press conference. We get to see a little bit of everything,
right.
and that's what we're seeing. And
Right.
like I said, you want to see better for them, but I mean, unfortunately, it's probably time.
Yeah, it is. And I see this comment here from Stephen Dennis. Thank you so much for your comment. Coach Ron did what he could. Yep, with the resources he had. But he's one of the coaches in which the game has passed him by, unfortunately. I mean, we're talking, it's a different era.
It is.
It's a different era all the way around. Even things that I care about, this age, that is not the same.
It's a different style of player.
Different style of player.
Different group. You guys, these are 20-year-olds, that in a different generation than when we grew up. Heck, if you can look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, for people that are looking and say you need a two people. You can look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, they're winning, but they're 8-7. But we've heard the whispers of the things that are coming out of there. Tomlin having trouble with some of the young players and trying to get them to, George Pickens was going off all throughout the year. Another one, Bill Belichick, who is rumored to be coming to Washington in some people's eyes. He's struggling with the new way of things. And this is the greatest coach of all time. And numbers wise, he's the greatest coach of all time. Most wins, most Super Bowls, So it's one of those things where you got to look at the Sean McVays. You got to look at the the Kyle Shanahans. You got to look at the Mike McDaniels. Those are the places that you have to start looking at for the future. You know what I'm saying? Like, and me and Candi, we talk about this many times. When you start to look for the future of this team, you know what I'm saying? Who are the young guns in the game that are doing their thing? That's where this team has to go. Even Zach Taylor in Cincinnati, he struggled initially in Cincinnati, but look at Cincinnati now. They gave him time. He's a young man that knows the game, and they're they're in the mix, or if they've been to the Super Bowl. That's where this team has to go when it comes to head coach, GM style. They got to find that person that mix that they will mesh together to help lead this team into a different way of life. It can't go old school anymore. Old school is not the way, unfortunately. Not everybody can do that anymore.
Yep, it's all a culture shift. It's all a culture shift. Just everybody. It's all different. It's all different in the ways of connecting, even studying, even probably learning styles. It's just completely different now. It's different. And so, y'all, before we close out another, you would hate to say Coach Rivera's tenure was a failure. You would hate to say that. That is all what it is. Darrell, you summed it up perfectly at all of the things Coach Rivera had to deal with here, but I think it also leads to that and DJ had it there. It's forward thinking. I would love to see this organization, and this is going to be a lot, because here's the reality, y'all. We just knew we were going to have like a semi-quiet off season, or it will not be none of the sort. It will not be quiet at all. It will not be quiet at all. It won't be.
It's loud every year. It's loud every year, Candi.
And because we're still dealing with remnants of Dan Snyder, I guess that was really wishful thinking to think that, boom, we were going to be, ready to move on. But I mean, no. So we'll see what happens. I think this next move, funny enough, I think this ownership group has more on them. Maybe they realize how much they got on them, but they got a lot on them, because I almost feel like this move, what they do, is going to stamp who they are.
Yeah.
And who they want to be when they grow up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's who you want to be when you grow up. What they come out with, whether it's the traditional GM structure, GM, all those things, that is going to
set the tone.
Set the tone of what is absolutely okay, what is absolutely not okay. Because what we've been talking about is, hey, if you tell me 8 wins, you can choose your 8. But I need at least 8. If you tell me I need at least 10, then there's no question. Again, barring any injury, right? We're seeing teams that have dealt with some significant injuries to their key players, and they still got at least 7, 8 wins.
Yeah.
And so I think them being able to see what's happening, look at the league. Right? Look at those that had those draft picks, right? Because if you end up with a high one, okay, you better be good. It better be good.
The Texans.
It better be good. And it better be somebody. Miss everybody with the development stuff. Okay? Miss everybody with that. We need stuff that's going to happen in a way that immediately impacts the football game.
They've been developing for 30 years.
Absolutely.
It's been developing for 30 years.
I mean, I understand, trust the process and rebuild, but the more that we've seen, Darrell, and at first, and I know the preaching of patience, but I shared this a couple weeks ago. I don't think this team got maybe about a year or two. Maybe. But I still don't think they can't have another season like this. I just don't think I don't think it's in their best interest at all.
Well, me and you talked about this a while back. I mean, I think you probably on one of our rides or talking. And here's the thing. Since 1993, 92, 8 over 500 seasons. That's 30 years and only 8 winning seasons in 30 years. That's why I agree with you. This can't be a rebuild per se. You've got to find a way because you got pieces. There are pieces on this team that could help take this team to another spot. But you got to get the right guy to bring them along to get them there and the right pieces. And they've got money this year to spend. So
Right.
you have to really knock this one out the park. And you got to get, it doesn't even need to be Super Bowl next year, but you got to be on that road trending like, okay, this is the team, but it has to be consistent. It can't be 1 year and then have another 3 years of losing seasons. Can't do that, because what they've done is they'll go to the playoffs and it's okay, that's good for another 5 years. No. Like, what, they went in 15, they went in 20, and they haven't been in 3 years. It's like, no. And in a division that, look, Philly, they can beat them. We've seen it twice, Candi. They can beat Philly. And, Dallas, they beat them last year. Pretty much the same team with maybe less than like 1 or 2 people. They beat them last year. They can beat these guys. They can beat the Giants. They just, for whatever reason, they just don't want to. And that's the thing. They could turn it around like that. We've seen the Texans do it this year. They're in the playoff mix. They could be in the playoffs this year if things go their way in the next 2 weeks. It can happen, but they cannot let it. I agree with you 1,000%. They cannot let this thing be another rebuild. They have to find a way to be on the process of moving up. Just have to.
No. And they have to be really clear. This isn't. I think, with Josh Harris within his ownership group, I don't think I understand what he's done with his basketball and his hockey teams. I don't think he can do that right here.
No.
All things considered, using your clues.
Yep.
Mr. Harris, if you're listening, using your clues, sir, you got to do this a little different. You got to fast track this, buddy, because that's all NFL teams, though.
Yeah.
That's all NFL teams. Nobody's trying to stay sorry for long.
You can't. I mean, and like I said,
you see people making changes all throughout the season, trying to get better, trying to make an adjustment so they can win a football game. They're just trying to do. God bless the Vikings. God bless Kevin O'Connell and the Minnesota Vikings. Because I said this man has been trying to do everything in his power since Kirk Cousins went down to try to make a change, just to try to do anything to try to get
just to stay afloat.
To stay afloat. And the Commanders ain't dealing with a Kirk Cousins at anywhere at quarterback, and they just, you know what I mean?
It's funny because they're starting Jaron Hall on Sunday in the Vikings game.
Right.
And that's their third starting quarterback since Kirk Cousins went down. Yeah. And I'm like, and guess what? They're still in the playoff mix. They're still in the playoffs mix.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's what I said, God. I just saw the alert come up, and I said, "Well, Kevin O'Connell, Lord, be with him, be with him."
I mean, not this Sunday for this guy. Not this Sunday. No, not this Sunday. I needed to be the Jordan Love show.
Yeah, they playing Packers, right? So it's
not this Sunday.
But look, but I'm just using that as an example.
Right.
Making a change is doing what you need to do to win a football game.
Right.
Because this is what is going on in real life. Kevin O'Connell ain't worried about your draft position conversation.
No, he went there and wins. He wants to get back in the playoffs.
An excuse, but is it really an excuse? Look at all the changes he's making. You know what I mean? I mean, they've gone games without Justin Jefferson. I mean, your quarterback, your top receiver.
They lost their tight end last week. He's gone.
Right. TJ Hawkinson is now out for the season. And they're every week trying to get better. Like, hey, it's no quarterback controversy, right? It's no quarterback controversy. Like, change. No, we trying to win football game.
Yep, next man up. Next man
up. This ain't gonna work this week. I got to move on. So you all listen. We're gonna wrap this up. You all, thank you so much for hanging out with us. The Bowie Television Commanders reporting crew here. Seawall, Darrell, Owens. You all keep tuning in. Commanders, 49ers, we just go, have a good day, everybody. Whatever you do, I give that advice, which is don't let them mess your day up. That's what I try to tell everybody. Don't let them mess up your Thanksgiving.
It's tough.
Yeah, that was tough. Mess up your Thanksgiving, but try not to let them mess up your New Year's Eve. Try not to let them mess up your New Year's Eve. I'll probably be back. Won't do a show on New Year's Day because I still try to honor all holidays, and I know there's a big college football game day, right?
Oh yeah, it's a big college football game. That's gonna be tough.
Day. So we'll be back next week. But you all listen, you'll be hearing from Darrell and I a lot. In the off season, you'll be hearing from us a lot. because
Yes.
it will be a lot to discuss. So, Darrell, thank you for helping your sister out because I was fading over here, but all is well. All
Yeah,
is
look,
well.
I got your back. You know, I'm here.
Send it
Oh,
out. Good.
also, y'all make sure y'all go check out 101 here on Bowie Television. Had an
Yeah.
episode drop today, tomorrow 6 p.m. Make sure you check it out. If you need your power rankings, you need an overall view of the league, your boy got you. Go ahead and make sure you check it out.
Yep. I'm telling you, Bowie TV's got it all.
We in there.
Got it all. All right, y'all. Y'all be easy. Happy New Year to you all, and we'll see you guys again next week.